been made by Savannah to make it better. The company failed. They could not match the offer. I've also come to learn that even prior to that, that the banks that were paying, this money is coming from the US, so we must have a local bank that is paying. I've just come to discover that there was pressure from above, immense pressure from above, to get that bank to withdraw from the deal. So what were they trying to do? It was to collapse that deal, to collapse it. Because if you don't have a paying bank, the deal collapses.
Yes.
Thank God there's another Kenyan bank which had confidence in another Kenyan. And they said, well, no, what? Number one is a Kenyan. Number two, we've looked at the due diligence. This is not another Adani. Looked at due diligence. This is legit. Okay? The funds are coming from another reputable bank. The funds are available for payment within 30 days. The other Indian is offering to pay within 12 months. They are offering less, and then they're asking for time to pay the 23 billion, which means any intelligent person will know that the intention was to get the asset and then mortgage the asset and then pay. And you can see when people are out to destroy their own, when a government is out to eat their own. Let us assume that Benson Detta, and I'm not here to talk on his behalf, he has not briefed me, but he's a Kenyan. Benson Detta could have had issues with his shareholders in Savannah. He could have had issues. Those are commercial transactions. Those are governance issues in a private company. Where does government come in? Where does government come in? DCI arrested this man, a Kenyan, who had instructed them to arrest Benson. Under whose instruction were they? If it's shareholders having issues, where does the government come in?
Let them solve them.
Let them solve. If there's a commercial a problem, challenge, there are commercial courts. Let them go to court. Why arrest a Kenyan and refuse him bail? You lock him up. You lock up the poor person overnight. Why? Under whose instruction were they working? Those are questions that somebody must answer. Okay? This is not a light matter. It's not a light matter, my friend. The other thing that I want to ask, okay, because we're all Kenyans, we come from somewhere. You come from Moranga. I come from Western Kenya. And I'm not saying this because Benson comes from Western Kenya. But are they trying to suggest, that lawyers have been condemned to be cooks and watchmen? When a lawyer makes it big, we saw Mwale has made it big, people try to frustrate him in Kakamega. Now Benson making it big, people are trying to frustrate him. Does it mean that they want to condemn the lawyers to cooks and watchmen? That question will have to be answered by somebody at the right time. Because this is a community, we belong to Kenyans, we must be treated equal. In any case, do you think a bank will get involved in a deal of 27 billion without doing? There is a Kenyan by the name of Benson Detta. Benson Detta is the managing director of Savannah Clinker. Savannah Clinker for a long time has been producing cement. Of course, they ran into some headwinds, but they were coming back very strongly. Benson Detta and his shareholders, he's a Kenyan, he was able to get funding from the US, a bank loan, through himself and other partners, to purchase 60% of Bamburi cement. Bamburi, that 60% belongs to the French, Lafarge. Okay? Lafarge is not Kenya's French. So they put their shares in the market. Two companies qualified. Savannah Clinker, who offered 27 billion for the 60% shares at 76.5 per share. Then we have some other company from our neighboring country, Tanzania, and we have no problems with Tanzanians, we have no problems with Indians, we have no problems. But when an Indian from Tanzania comes and offers 23 billion, 23 billion, that's a difference of over 4 billion shillings at a share price of 65 shillings. Why would any person sell their shares at less when there's somebody in the market offering more? And I've tried to follow this story. I've even discovered that just on Thursday or Wednesday, this Tanzanian company had the last chance to counter the offer that had.
There is a very shocking story which is coming out of the Republic of Kenya, and this was issue of acquiring a company, and it went down with two individuals who had secured the right to buy these shares in a clinker company, but something went down terribly wrong, and they were accused of money laundering back in 2018. When you look at this issue, where were the DCI or the people who are accusing them of swindling money back in the year 2018 were up to this moment? This is like 7 years later. And which banks gives a loan in Kenya at this era when they know that there are very many scammers and many digital frauds in the Republic without doing diligence? And you see these people when they were trying to fund their property or the properties which they acquired during this time 2018 areas or the years of 2017, 2018, 2019, the bank did due diligence and they got loans from one of the best banks or one of the very reputable bank, a bank with a very good reputation. So it's very clear that this loan was given on a very, very good purpose. But now they're being accused and even being locked on a jail. So this thing when it was being done or when these people have been arrested, now it's very critical that there's something wrong, and as it has been alleged, there is a very powerful politician from the former province of the Rift who was influential and who came out to give a new Adani this deal, who came out and robbed a Kenyan investor of his very fairly won submission. So many people in the Kenyan space are complaining. We have seen this story trend, and many people saying that indeed we are in a very big, deep mafia state, and this mafia state has very some few influential individuals who are running the show or who are trying to acquire every very big property. However, looking at that issue, you will notice that indeed when the president promised that he will deal with cartels, this promise he hasn't kept it, because powerful cartels are emerging even in the government, who are now deciding or who are even brokering PPP deals. These deals have become very contested in the Republic of Kenya. We saw what happened with the Adani, JKI, Kenchako, and Chief Shah, where some people are alleging that these deals aren't fair. There's something which is being hidden from the public. So what do you think is this politicians, especially MPs who were formerly in the opposition, who were opposing Adani? We even saw the former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga come out to say that Adani is very clean. Adani is white as a clean robe. So there was nothing or something need, or there was no any need for Kenyans to say that Adani was bad. But moment after it was indicted in the USA, then things came, or Kenyans came out to say that, look at you now, Raila, what were you saying? But looking at this story which has happened in the Republic of Kenya, for me, I'm very sad about this businessman who was locked in jail for what has been termed as unfairness. Then a very powerful politician comes out and just decks the tender. He even secures the tender before even having the money, so he reserved it for himself using the state machinery, then he goes out to mobilize for funds. Is it fair? Make sure you comment down there below.
DCI arrested this man, a Kenyan, who had instructed them to arrest Benson. Under whose instruction were they? If it's shareholders having issues,
Yes.
where does the government come in?
Let them solve them.
Let them solve. If there's a commercial a problem, challenge, They are commercial courts. Let them go to court. Why arrest a Kenyan and refuse him bail? You lock him up. You lock up the poor person overnight. Why? Under whose instruction were they working? Those are questions that somebody must answer. Okay? This is not a light matter. It's not a light matter, my friend. The other thing that I want to ask, okay, because we're all Kenyans, we come from somewhere. You come from Moranga, I come from Western Kenya. And I'm not saying this because Banson comes from Western Kenya. But are they trying to suggest, yet, that lawyers have been condemned to be cooks and watchmen? When a lawyer makes it big, we saw Mwale has made it big, people try to frustrate him in Kakamega. Now Benson making it big, people are trying to frustrate him. Does it mean that they want to condemn the lawyers to cooks and watchmen? That question will have to be answered by somebody at the right time. Because this is a community, we belong to Kenyans, we must be treated equal. In any case, do you think a bank will get involved in a deal of 27 billion without doing